Welcome back to Flurry Sports. My name is Zach Bruner. Trevor Land in the middle, Luke Reimer on the right. We're talking fantasy football. Once again, we're hopefully going to make this like an every week thing. So let us know in the comments if you're watching on YouTube what you want to see for fantasy football topics for us to cover in the future. Tonight, we are going to be talking some old faces in new places, some players who have switched teams this offseason, focusing on quarterbacks and running backs tonight. And next week, we will probably be talking about the pass catchers since there's a pretty long list for those. But I think we might as well just jump into the quarterbacks because obviously, I mean, this entire offseason was hectic for like that first week. Everyone was talking about the quarterback carousel. It was hectic. Yes, Luke?
Sorry, I don't mean to cut you off. Just a question. What do you guys think was the craziest offseason move?
Deshaun Watson staying out of jail.
That's fair.
It's wild. How about you, Trevor?
He's still in orange though, so it's pretty much the same thing. I would
And
probably
Cleveland.
go, yeah. So he's basically in prison. I would probably go Russell Wilson only because of the timing. I think we all knew he was going to be moved, but the timing was weird, and then the package was also somewhat unexpected.
Yeah, and on my end, I think a little underrated one is Marquise Brown got traded during the draft, and him and Lamar Jackson are like really good buddies, like grew up playing football together and everything. It's weird to see that, but I guess maybe that shows that they have that much faith in Rashad Bateman moving forward.
I love Rashad Bateman. I think that is almost being undersold or kind of forgotten about him
Mm-hmm.
just in general. Like that's a massive jump for his fantasy stock, even though it is obviously a run heavy offense. And I would assume that the Ravens sign a deep threat at some point. Like I talked about, I think last week or a couple weeks ago, I think T.Y. Hilton is probably going to go there. I know for sure they are interested in him and talking to him. But even still, like Rashad Bateman's going to be the number one guy there. And I
Mm-hmm.
think that's super useful. But yeah, let's talk about these quarterbacks first, new ones. I'm just going to run through the list first and then we'll dissect it, I suppose. But Russell Wilson, obviously, we just went from Seattle to Denver, Deshaun Watson, Houston to Cleveland, Matt Ryan, Atlanta to Indianapolis, Carson Wentz, Indianapolis to Washington. Marcus Mariota in free agency went from the Raiders to the Falcons. Drew Lock went from Denver to Seattle, a part of that Wilson trade. And then I put him on the list here because people aren't really considering him like a chance that he could start, but I think we need to talk about it. Mitchell Trubisky went from Buffalo to Pittsburgh. I don't think Pickett is like a super lock to start week one, and maybe we start there. Am I just pumping the brakes too early? Or like if you had to give a percentage chance, like I truly think it's 50-50 who starts week one.
Yeah,
Trevor, what's your Luke?
I'm
What's
sorry.
your split?
I'm
No,
sorry.
go ahead.
I'm still down same path 50-50 with you. I mean, there's a reason they brought Mitch Trubisky in. I'm sure they knew Ben Roethlisberger was retiring, and they're going to grab a rookie. Mitch Trubisky has a winning record as a quarterback. I mean, us being Packer fans, we've seen the bad sides of Mitch Trubisky, but I mean, he's an average quarterback. I mean, he's not a loser. He's not a bad quarterback by any means. With a team that has pieces in Pittsburgh, I think it makes sense for Mitch Trubisky to at least, start the first 9 games, and if they like lose 3 in a row, throw Kenny Pickett in or something like that.
Yeah, I'd go 50-50 too. I mean, if we're being honest, I don't think he really ever had a chance to grow in Chicago. Like, he had Allen Robinson and he had 1,000 tight ends and pass catching running backs, but I mean, they never really gave him a ton of weapons or a good offensive play caller or a great head coach, in my opinion. So, he, like you said, Luke, he's a winning quarterback. I mean, people forget they were close to beating the Eagles, double doink away from beating the team that won the Super Bowl that year, if I'm not mistaken. So, although they had an elite defense, there's something to be said about what he did that game as well. So, I think there's definitely a shot here.
And it's not like Mitchell Trubisky is this old guy, right? Before the season begins, Pickett will turn 24, Trubisky will turn 28. So I think they truly should give both players an equal shot to compete for the job. And whoever gets it, gets it. Obviously, Trubisky is, I think, on a 1-year deal. So if he all of a sudden turns into the guy he was drafted to be, it could be a struggle next offseason in terms of re-signing him, I suppose. But I think that's the way they probably should approach it, and I think they will. It just seems like the Steelers' mentality to do that anyway.
And I was going to ask, do you think this turns into like a Ryan Tannehill situation where his career kind of gets revitalized in Pittsburgh?
It could. Like, I don't think there's any reason. I don't think there is a reason to say no.
Yeah.
We barely saw him in Buffalo, but when we did, he didn't suck. Like, he was put in good situations. Another thing, like, the Steelers' offensive line, I think, is better, but if they have any like worries about it, just like with Justin Fields last year, throw Trubisky out there. Like, you don't want to put the rookie out there to get killed and immediately make sure that their career is going nowhere. Like, at least make Mitch the bitch be the sacrificial lamb. We're totally cool with that. Like Chicago did enough times anyways. I think that's the smartest reason or the smartest thing for them to do. And yeah, I don't know. Like, if Trubisky somehow starts 17 games in this offense, man, I think he would be pretty damn good for fantasy.
That's what I'm saying. There's a lot of pieces around him. And
he uses his legs at least a little. Man, like, whoever is named the starter there, I'm going to assume they go undrafted in normal redraft fantasy leagues. I think that is the perfect lottery ticket. Like we talk about, instead of drafting a kicker in the last round or whatever, I think you definitely take them. I do have ADP up here, I guess.
It almost feels like, too, if you want to go for a little bit of a risk, take them in a keeper league in a real late round.
Yeah. Neither are being drafted in the top 25 for quarterbacks, which isn't surprising, but that just goes to show you they're going after Zach Wilson, Jameis Winston, Carson Wentz, as they should. But fuck, I'll take them all day, every day.
Mitch Trubisky, if he starts, like you said, 17 games, he might be a sneaky DFS option all year.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I'm not sure who their non-divisional opponents are, but like in those games against the Bengals, who should be able to put up points anyways, like he's in the games where the Steelers will have to throw it. They have to air it out. I think he could be really good. And you talked about the weapons there. Is there a choice between the two Steelers quarterbacks then, Trubisky or Pickett? Is there a significant difference for the pass catchers for either of you? Like, if Trubisky gets the job over Pickett, does anyone vault up in terms of value?
I don't think so. I mean, neither of these guys have played with the team yet. I mean, if you're going to side with one, probably Mitch Trubisky, because he's played in the league, before he has experience against good teams. He has playoff experience. But no, I mean, if either of these quarterbacks start, it doesn't make me love any receiver more, and it doesn't make me hate any receiver more than the other.
Looking at the Steelers' schedule, they play the AFC East and the NFC South, which that's 3 games right there. Although, obviously, Saints have a really good defensive front. But still, I mean, he's not going to have much competition from Atlanta or Carolina, most likely.
Mm-hmm. I think I would prefer the pass catchers if Trubisky's the quarterback. I'm not fully sold on Pickett. I think Trubisky has a bigger arm, and I think he might turn the ball over more, but I think he's more willing to force the ball downfield, which with those receivers would be a very good thing.
So how much more does it bump up Najee Harris if Pickett starts right away?
I would assume quite a bit, especially for, I think both of those quarterbacks would be willing to check down and throw to the bigger target. So I'm talking like Pat Freiermuth at tight end. But you see the inexperience usually default to that. Yeah. So I think I would like them slightly more running back and tight end with Pickett. But yeah, fair. To your guys' point, I don't think it's a massive difference either way. Let's talk about Atlanta. So they go from Matt Ryan last year, and I had to look because I looked at the fantasy stats this year or from last year today. Because I just remember Matt Ryan was surprisingly good last year. I'm like, he is making chicken salad out of chicken shit somehow, some way. He's playing really well. And I go to look, he played 17 games and was quarterback 20 on a per game basis. He scored almost 14 fantasy points per game. I'm like, holy shit, that is horrible. I really thought he was a lot better than that. So now you bring in Marcus Mariota, who will probably use his legs more than Matt Ryan, I would assume. Do you value him much higher than Matt Ryan this year, though?
I value him lower.
Yeah, I think I'm with Trevor on that. I mean, Mariota hasn't started a game in how long? Are we even sure Mariota is going to start this year? They drafted, what's his name, out of Cincinnati?
Ritter, yeah.
I assume, you got to assume Mariota starts. I think the value that Mariota is going to bring with his legs will match the value that Matt Ryan brings with his arm in Indianapolis. So I would probably say it's a wash, but I mean, if I'm siding with one, it's Matt Ryan.
Yeah, Mariota's not in the top 25 for ADP, according to Fantasy Football Calculator right now. And I meant to say compared to Matt Ryan last year. Like, do you rank him higher than what Matt Ryan did last year?
Nah.
But no. And like I said, that's quarterback 20 on a per game basis. Just eyeballing it, probably closer to like 28, 29. It was really bad. I think the Falcons receiving core is better this year. And I think Mariota looked really good last year. I think it was last year when Derek Carr, it looked like he tore his hamstring, was out. Mariota, I think led them to victory or at least played really good. And then Derek Carr came back the next week or something somehow. But Mariota is a guy, I don't have any faith that he plays 17 games.
For sure.
I think he's going to get hurt. So he's fully hands off. I'm not going to touch him. Again, maybe he's like a lottery ticket if he's going last round of fantasy drafts, I guess. But man, the Falcons, I could easily see being the biggest dumpster fire in the NFL this year.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So then counterpart, Matt Ryan's now in Indianapolis. He will fully, if everything goes right for the Colts, they want him to play game manager more often than not. That was the issue with Carson Wentz last year. Wentz literally checking out of runs in essentially a 3-man box just so he could throw it and sprain an ankle. It was ridiculous. So Matt Ryan last year, obviously quarterback 20 on a per game basis, much lower. Do you think he's better this year in this situation where he's asked to do less, but he has more? Well, I guess, does he have more around him? Right now, he doesn't really have any pass catcher except for Alec Pierce and Pittman. But do you like him more or less than last year or about the same?
I like him about the same, just because when you're a game manager, your opportunities go down in terms of versus a gunslinger and what he's been doing. He doesn't have really any pieces around him. Obviously, I feel like their game plan is going to go around Jonathan Taylor. That isn't too much of a stretch there. So looking at all that, I don't really see a difference one way or the other. I just see kind of the same. I think the interceptions go way down, but I think the touchdowns also take a hit for sure.
Yeah, I would imagine, I'm in the same boat as Trevor. I would imagine that the mistakes go down, leading to obviously, touchdowns, whatever. But like Trevor said, the sample size is going to go down. You're just not going to get the opportunities with Matt Ryan.
Now, I have the stats ahead of me and you guys don't. If I asked you, do you think Matt Ryan performs as good as Carson Wentz did last year from a fantasy point of view, or do you think he's going to do better, the same, or worse than Carson Wentz last year?
I will say worse because Carson Wentz still ran a little bit last year.
I would say slightly worse or the same because Carson Wentz had some deep bombs that he connected to.
I'm going to look at his rushing stats, actually. Carson Wentz ran for about 200 yards last year. Wentz finished as quarterback 14 last year, which was, I think, about 30 points ahead of Matt Ryan. Yes, so about 30 points more than Matt Ryan. They played the same amount of games. Yeah, I think they're probably somewhere in the middle. So between them last year was Lamar Jackson, which obviously injuries, Russell Wilson, obviously injuries, Jimmy Garoppolo, Mac Jones, Taylor Heineke. And yeah, they feel both Mac Jones and Jimmy Garoppolo-esque, I guess.
Yeah.
Matt Ryan, ADP really quick, is in the 13th round in a 12-team league right now.
Yeah, that group of quarterbacks to me is a group that, you're not comfortable with when you have to start them in fantasy football this year.
I agree. Moving on to Carson Wentz, then he goes from Indianapolis to Washington. I believe his receiving core is better. I think he's playing behind a worse offensive line, probably. I think his level of competition he sees is roughly the same. But Carson Wentz is Carson Wentz regardless. Like, he's going to have really good moments. He's going to have really bad moments. Again, quarterback 14 last year. What are your guys' thoughts on him from fantasy purposes this year relative to last year?
I mean, my thoughts. I'm not a big Carson Wentz fan. I don't think he's a very, very good quarterback. But is he that much better than Taylor Heineke in Washington last year?
Yeah. I think so. I don't think Taylor Heineke belongs in the NFL.
That's fair.
To be honest.
Yeah, I mean, Washington's probably going to be losing games this year. I mean, it's all dependent on their defensive line, but you have to imagine, being down. Carson Wentz, like you said, Zach, he was checking out of runs in Indianapolis. What do you think he's going to do when he's down 14? He's going to want to sling the ball. I mean, you're going to get rewarded for the more opportunities that happens. But he's right there, like with Matt Ryan. I'm not comfortable starting him, but maybe take a flyer on him in a late round. Try to get lucky.
The Washington Commanders football team, whatever you want to call them, they've had a very bad history recently with quarterbacks getting injured. And now they enter in one of the most injury-prone quarterbacks in the league, and I don't see how this works out well. So I think that's a huge question mark. Again, you bring up the offensive line, that's going to hurt if he's just getting smoked all game. I don't think he survives either of the games against the Cowboys, and I don't think the Cowboys are that great. So I look at that. I look at the running attack. I don't even know if Washington knows what they're doing there. Who knows if McLaurin stays? There are just too many question marks, and his durability is number one. So, I don't buy him. I don't even want to take a ticket on him.
Like I said, there's a good Carson Wentz and there's a bad Carson Wentz. When he's on, I think this offense is going to be really good. I think he's going to make Terry McLaurin look like that good wide receiver again. I looked it up just because I thought I knew who the offensive coordinator was. I was right. Scott Turner's still there, so obviously son of Norv Turner. I think the running backs and the tight end is going to be used quite a bit. So we're talking about Antonio Gibson, J.D. McKissick in the backfield catching passes. We're talking Logan Thomas, who all three of us like, obviously, quite a bit. He should be heavily involved. Obviously, we've seen Carson Wentz utilize the tight end quite a bit, and he didn't really have that good tight end receiving threat in Indianapolis, I don't think. So I think when everything's working right, I think this could be a really good offense. I think Carson Wentz, he's going to have his share of top 6 weeks. But yeah, he's total boomer bust for me. Like, I wouldn't invest anything in him as a quarterback, but luckily he's going 25th overall amongst quarterbacks. He's going in the 14th round in 12-team leagues. So, like, would I rather have him or Zach Wilson? Would I rather have him or Jameis Winston? Like, I would take him. I think I would like him over Tua.
Oh, yeah.
Tua's going in the 11th round. So, I think it's all relative, but yeah, I'm not confident. Like, I don't want him to be my QB1 if I can help it.
Right.
If I'm going to be frustrated from a quarterback, it's going to be a guy like Wentz when you get some value in the rounds, by waiting instead of taking Tua in the 11th.
I agree. Next quarterback, Deshaun Watson. Obviously, Deshaun Watson is an absolute stud. He's extremely good. For the sake of analysis, let's just assume he plays every game. Let's assume there's no suspension this year. We can revisit this if that changes. Last time we saw him, 2020, he finished as quarterback 5, playing every single game. And obviously, that was on a terrible Houston team. He's extremely good. He can use his legs. The wide receiver core there in Cleveland now, very different. Obviously, a lot of people left town. Amari Cooper's the number one guy. Amari Cooper, notable for being terrible on grass, and Cleveland plays on grass. So we'll see what happens there. Then it's, I don't know, man. Let's bring this up. I think the rookie might be number 2.
Donovan
Peoples-Jones would probably be 2, right?
Oh, yeah. I guess technically. They have to sign somebody else.
What a stupid last name, Peoples-Jones.
Take it up with him.
Yeah.
Take it up with his mama. But yeah, Donovan Peoples-Jones, David Bell are both there as 2 or 3, whatever. Anthony Schwartz is fast as a number 4, I guess. Jakeem Grant is there. They really don't have much. If Amari Cooper gets hurt, as Amari Cooper loves to do, like there's nothing here. Like I'm sure Will Fuller signs here, but again, health. Like how many games is that going to be? There isn't a ton left out there after that. And then tight end wise, he's got David Njoku, who has been hit or miss. Harrison Bryant is fine. I don't know. Where do you guys value Deshaun Watson this year? I think he's an interesting one.
This just seems like the start of the end for like his 30 for 30 episode. Like it's like, oh, what would have happened? Because I don't know. It just doesn't feel right. Like we know how talented he can be, but you talked about the receiving core. The defenses in the division, I would argue, are much improved over the defenses he's ever played. He hasn't played in a year. I'm not saying he's out of shape, but he's also torn his ACL once. So there are a lot of question marks here that I'm not a fan of. I think he's a guy where if you can take a mid to late round flyer on him because of question marks or maybe even a lottery, I think that's great. If you're drafting him as a 1, that's just a catastrophe.
It would be great if Odell went and signed back with Cleveland now that Deshaun Watson's quarterback.
It'd be funny. It would be funny. And then Deshaun gets suspended, and then Baker's the quarterback.
Right. But yeah, Zach, you're right. When Deshaun Watson, is playing his best football, or when he's on the field, he's one of the best players in the NFL. Trevor, I agree with all the question marks around it too. I mean, Deshaun Watson is probably going to go a lot earlier than what he should go this year, just because everyone's going to see the name back. Everyone still has some weird idea that Cleveland's going to be a good football team. If Deshaun Watson at the top of the game, maybe. But I'm with Trevor. There's too many question marks around it. I would rather take a guy. I don't know. I think I'd rather have Russell Wilson than him this year.
Yeah, I agree. Right now, like you can't really base anything on his ADP right now.
Yeah.
Just because there's truly a million question marks and a million different ways this could go. Currently, he's being the 14th quarterback taken. His ADP is the 10th round. He's going after Justin Fields. So, like, I don't expect that to be true in July and August. But, like, in my personal opinion, I don't see a way where Deshaun Watson is suspended like 6 games. Like, in my personal opinion, I think he either plays the full season or he's going to be like gone in terms of this year, because not everything is going to be decided yet this year. So that's my thought process. So if for some reason we are still like, oh, there's so many questions heading into the season, and all of a sudden he is still in that 9th or 10th round in terms of ADP, I'm going to draft him. But I don't know. What's your guys' thoughts?
I think I actually disagree with that. I think it's more likely he's out for like the middle portion than he is the whole season. Although this is also me looking at the NFL as a rational judge, jury, and executioner, which they aren't. Like, if you're looking at it from an optic standpoint, the fact that he has not been found guilty of anything criminally or civilly to this point, it's really going to be tough to suspend him for a whole year. You could definitely get behind 6 or 7 games. So rationally, I would think he would be out half the year, but like, it's the NFL. We have no clue what they're going to do. And that scares me because, to your point, if it's a whole season, that would not shock me either. And if they said, oh, he was innocent, it wouldn't shock me. It seems like no matter what they do, no matter what the situation, they make the wrong call. And there are multiple wrong calls that they can make here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, Zach, would you go as far as taking him? I guess I can ask both of you, Zach and Trevor. Would you go as far as taking him as a second quarterback in that, you know, that area that he's going?
For me, I mean, there's a chance. For me, usually, no, I don't think I would.
Right.
I like to wait at quarterback anyways, though. But if like the ADP right now, Russell Wilson's going mid to late 8th round. If somehow I got Russell Wilson 8th round, Deshaun Watson 10th round, I would do that.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Yeah. It's just, to your point, Trevor, I mean, NFL's not rational. The NFL is also extremely scared because of the Ray Rice situation. They suspended him. More evidence came out. They're like, oh, we didn't see that. Oh, she got smacked. Like, they don't want that to happen. They don't want to punish him and then more evidence to come out and be like, wow, you guys knew this and that's all you did. And then they look like they're backtracking. So that's why they're waiting so long. So that's why I just don't see them doing anything this year. I don't think anything's going to happen this year. But if enough evidence comes out where they do feel like they have enough evidence to make a decision, then that's why I think it's going to be extreme. But I don't know. I really don't know. Randy in the chat, does Baker play for the Browns? I don't think so. I do think he goes to Carolina. I think that makes the most sense. I think it's the funniest situation.
Robbie Anderson would not be happy.
No, he wouldn't. Also, they would be paying Darnold and him the same amount of money, unless the Browns, pay a certain amount. But
same draft class.
Yeah, same draft class, drafted 2 apart, so they're both getting, I think, like $18.8 million this year. Is Mahomes the first quarterback taken this year or no? No, I think Josh Allen's pretty consensus.
Yep.
Mahomes is second right now in ADP, though.
Okay, never mind.
Yeah.
Where's Herbert? That's because I think there's a lot of question about when to take Herbert this year.
Yeah, Herbert right now, again, 12-team league. So Herbert's going 4.08, Mahomes is going 3.08, and Josh Allen's going 2.03. So early second. Who would you want in terms of value amongst those 3?
I still think Josh Allen. I mean, I know taking a quarterback that high is crazy, but I mean, this dude gets so many points. The whole offense is Josh Allen. I mean, you do get a benefit from it, just like I think you get a benefit from it if you take Lamar Jackson in maybe the 4th or 5th round this year.
Yeah, Josh Allen is really high, obviously, there, but Mahomes is pretty high, too, for what we saw last year. Andy's losing Hill, and Herbert is pretty high, too. Like, I like Herbert, but it's the Chargers. So that should be enough to move you away from that.
Yeah, I don't see myself ending up with any of these players very often this year. I love Justin Herbert. With how good that defense should be, he should be able to be a game manager more often than not. But we'll see. When are you taking Aaron Rodgers? Asks Randy. Currently, Aaron Rodgers is going mid-second round, so he's going at the same time as Joe Burrow. And I suppose that's fine. I don't think I'm able to do that personally. I don't think I would draft him in the 6th round. I think I would take him 7th or 8th if he somehow falls there.
I would much rather have Joe Burrow than Aaron Rodgers this year.
Yeah. Yep. I agree. I'd much rather have Jalen Hurts, who's going 7-12.
Yeah.
Okay. Russell Wilson's the last quarterback we are going to talk about, obviously going from Seattle to Denver. Denver has a completely new offense this year, new coaching staff completely. And they are saying they are going to make this Russ friendly. We got Quinn Miners slimming down because he says he has to block extra time because Russell Wilson's going to be running around the backfield, which I love. It's true because Russell Wilson doesn't throw the fucking ball ever. He's taking shots at his quarterback, and I'm all about it. I think this is going to be an air it out offense. I think they're truly giving the reins to Russell Wilson and saying, do whatever you want to do. And I think that might be good for fantasy. Right now, Russell Wilson's going quarterback 11. So he's going after Stafford, Dak, and Hurts, just ahead of Lance, Fields, and Watson. And to me, that feels about right. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I think Denver is the worst team in that division. I think they finished 4th. And I'm not, you guys know, I'm not necessarily high on Russell Wilson as a quarterback. But the last time we saw Russell Wilson be able to air it out, he had his worst year as a starter. He needs a run game to get going. I know Denver's got 2 great running backs back there. Russell Wilson running around, that's going to be a lot to do up in those mountains. I don't know. It doesn't add up to me. I don't like him this year. I don't.
Pretty much nailed it. I get that.
I don't know who I would move behind him, but I'm assuming he finishes as a top 10 quarterback. That's all I would say. Like I said, he's going quarterback 11, so that's not a bold take or anything. But I think he's going to be steady. I think he's going to have big weeks. And I think he has talent around him, just so long as Jerry Jeudy doesn't, keep hiding his kid's formula in different places around the neighborhood, I guess. I think their receiving core is pretty good. So I think he's going to outperform last year. I guess I should look. Wilson finished as quarterback 19 last year. On a per game basis, though, he was 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, like 13. Quarterback 13 on a per game basis. So yeah, I don't know. I'd say he's like 8 to 12 range. I think he's safe,
Yeah, he feels like a guy, just kind of going off that, feels like a guy that's not going to win you a championship, but will keep you in contention.
Yeah, and he's going to have those monster weeks like he always does. Good luck predicting it, but at some point he will. Randy wants to know about Derek Carr. I think he might go higher this year. I would assume he goes higher than past years. Obviously, receiving core is looking pretty good. He's currently going as the 19th quarterback, which is the end of the 11th round. That's behind Ryan Tannehill and Tua. And
Derek Carr than those two.
By a long shot.
I'd rather have him than Tannehill for sure. Yeah. I don't know. There's a lot of question marks about all of them, I think.
For sure.
I mean, man, they just traded away Bryan Edwards, and I'm not convinced Davante Adams is better than him. What has Davante Adams done without Aaron Rodgers? We've been down this road before. And I've seen Bryan Edwards without Aaron Rodgers, and he's made some big plays, especially in overtime. So we will see what Aaron Rodgers or what Davante Adams and Derek Carr can do, I guess. Let's talk about running backs. The running backs who I have written down that have changed teams that are somewhat significant to talk about. Chase Edmonds went from Arizona to Miami. Raheem Mostert went from San Francisco to Miami. Sony Michel went from the Rams to, you guessed it, Miami. Marlon Mack went from the Colts. He talked to Miami, went to Houston. Damien Williams went from the Bears to the Falcons. Ronald Jones went from the Buccaneers to the Chiefs. Mike Davis, in a really under-the-radar move, I feel like, went from the Falcons to the Ravens. And then Phillip Lindsay went from Miami. He was a part of that 10-headed monster backfield last year, and he went to the Colts. Let's start with Miami.
Well, Randy just put in the chat, Miami has a lot of running backs. And Randy, you're right.
they
You're also
do.
forgetting about Myles Gaskin and Salvin Ahmad, who are both still there as well.
Yeah, Miami, don't tell their fan base that they love mediocre running backs because they'll come for your throat.
Mm-hmm.
I made that mistake, and I apologize. But their backfield right now is Chase Edmonds, Raheem Mostert, Sony Michel, Myles Gaskin, and then they drafted Zaquandre White. They're all hands off for me. I don't want to touch any of them.
Totally agree.
Do not touch a Miami Dolphin running back. Give him like 10 years, you know? It's like a nuclear blast zone. Like, you got to wait till all the crap gets out of there before you even touch it again.
They're all injury prone too.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to take a gamble on a guy, Raheem Mostert, he's got some chemistry with new head coach. If that means anything, with a whole new team and whole new players on the team.
Yeah, people are assuming Chase Edmonds is the running back one to start, and I wouldn't be surprised if it is Mostert. I think Mostert's really good. I think he's the best talent out of them. He just always gets hurt. So, man, what a bad backfield. I just don't want any part of it. And Tyreek Hill's going to get carries. Their offensive line isn't that great where it's like, oh, they're going to be the most efficient running team in the world. They don't have a good blocking tight end, really. I don't
Tua
like it.
Can't throw half the time.
Yeah.
Can't throw
So
the right side
they'll
of the field.
just stack the box and double team Hill.
Yeah, let's look at the ADP. I'm interested to see. I would assume Mostert's going first.
Well, I was going to say Chase Edmonds.
Yeah, you're probably right. Let's see. They can't be going that early. Sony Michel's going first. So good for him.
What are we doing?
So that's going to be solely based off of that people think he's going to be the goal line back.
I can't. Maybe. I don't know. I would, because Alec Ingold's there. He's a good fullback. He might get the carries. Who knows? Sony Michel going running back 33, which is the 8th round. Yeah, Trevor?
Alec Ingold's going to have a 2-touchdown game this year, isn't he? Like the one, sure. And everybody's going to be healthy that week too.
Trevor, is that your first guarantee of the year?
Yeah, for sure. Put it down.
All of these running backs are bunched up. So Sony Michel's going 33rd, which is early 8th round. Chase Edmonds is going 38th amongst running backs, which is early 9th round. Raheem Mostert's going 41, which is late 9th round. And then Myles Gaskin's going 43, which is late 10th round. Why would you do that? Why would anybody draft any of those guys at those spots, I feel like? Well, so, I mean, 10th round, if Raheem Mostert's staring at you, I might take him.
What did we just say? What did we just all agree to say? Don't touch him. And you're already in the path that every fantasy owner falls into of,
he's so fast, though.
Maybe he is. He's going to look so good in that green.
Don't fall for it.
He's going to have like a 20-yard preseason run, and I'm going to be sold. That's my guy.
You know how fast him, Tyreek Hill, and Jalen Waddle are all going to look in that aqua green.
So good. So good.
And just like dolphins out of water, they're going to be useless if Tua is shitting in.
But, so, just reading off running backs 40 through 48. And this is why I'm considering Raheem Mostert, okay? Just because of if I need a running back 4 in this area, I feel like he's fastest out of this group. So 40 through 48, Alexander Mattison, Raheem Mostert, Chuba Hubbard, Myles Gaskin, J.D. McKissick, Trey Sermon, Jamal Williams, Ramondre Stevenson, Zach Moss.
So those are just all handcuffs.
I'd take
Not
McKissick.
No,
honestly. Wasn't there some stat like if you alternated Gaskin for even weeks and McKissick for odd weeks, you get like the running back 5 or whatever? So I'm taking McKissick. Take him in the 5th round too. Sneaky steal, winning your leagues.
Can't argue with that logic.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Zach, I will say that now that we've been talking about it, Raheem Mostert is starting to intrigue me.
No,
Hey.
guys, don't do it.
What about Sony Michel?
No,
He gets to play New England twice.
that is true.
Revenge
won't
game
start.
narrative.
They won't even start.
We'll see. Other running backs have switched places. Marlon Mack went from the Colts to the Texans. Obviously, Marlon Mack last year is coming off injury. Jonathan Taylor emerges as the guy. It seemed like he was one of the top names that was going to be moved at the trade deadline last year, but he wasn't. Now he's in Houston, and he should be given every opportunity to be the top running back, in my opinion. He will be competing with the rookie. Is it Damien Pierce? Is that his name? Yeah. So, and Rex Burkhead, who is going to have at least 2 top 10 weeks this year. Yeah. Fuck Rex Burkhead. He finds his way at every one of my fantasy teams at some point, and I never pick him up. I don't know how he gets there.
He just appears.
Yeah, and I start him, and it's usually good. So thank you, Rex.
But yeah. it's like when you're playing Madden franchise and you just have computer auto generate your, get your free agents in, and you keep cutting this guy and he keeps showing up. That's Rex Burkhead.
He is. Rex Burkhead hasn't been paid in 4 years. He just keeps showing up to the building. And he's a hard worker, man. He's a gritty guy.
Build type of guy.
Yes, for sure. First in, last out. But I like Marlon Mack this year. I think he's a good running back. Obviously, injuries have just slowed him down. His ADP is 54 amongst running backs, which is late 13th round. So
if you're getting a starting running back in the late rounds, I love it.
Yeah, I have him in
the question
Dynasty.
that popped in,
Oh, go on.
I was gonna say the question that popped in my mind. I'm like Raheem Mostert or Marlon Mack, and I'm not sure. I like them both. I might go with both of them. But
yeah. I'm in Dynasty in 2018, 2019 PPR. He was 21 and 22, which isn't great, but I mean he played 12 and 14 games, which isn't even a full season. So again, he's gonna get run. He's a solid running back. He does have the injury history, but he is only 26. Like he's not like a 31, 32. So I think he is probably. I think ending up in the 25 to 30 range is pretty good. So to your point, taking him that late, it feels just like a mini steal. One that's not going to get you a ton of points, but he's just a solid bench player, like Pat Connaughton, if you will.
Good. I agree.
Yeah.
I will say about Marlon Mack too, just based on his past career, I would imagine he gets put into a lot of trick play situations this year. I imagine the Texans are going to be losing a lot of the time. I imagine you probably get 2 or 3 touchdowns. Not that matters drafting, but I wouldn't count it out that Marlon Mack scores 2 or 3 weird touchdowns this year. That's my guarantee. 2 or 3 weird Marlon Mack touchdowns.
Okay, we need to find someone who knows weird, can gauge it perfectly well. Yeah, true. Yeah, I think Marlon Mack is probably the most likely person to be the technical lead back to start the year. I would assume it's going to be pretty even touches between him and Damien Pierce, with Rex Burkhead being like the receiving back, gadget, crafty, hard-nosed football player, I guess. Which, and I mean, we know for sure Marlon Mack's going to be rising in ADP. He will probably rise to that late 30, early 40 area that I just talked about. He's going to be there with Raheem Mostert and Ronald Jones and Alexander Madison, and you're not going to know what to do. And you're going to panic pick at least 3 of them, as is God's will.
Mm-hmm.
Godspeed.
A tradition like no other.
Yeah, it's great. Damien Williams, I wrote down. No one's talking about him. I just thought it was interesting. I think he's an interesting guy. Really good running back, can be a receiving running back. Goes from the Bears, which was a crowded backfield, to Atlanta. And I think Cordell Patterson's the clear top guy there, but he's not an every down running back, obviously. Then they drafted rookie Tyler Algier. And I think Damien Williams is going to be competing with those snaps. And if Damien Williams is the better pass blocker, which he will be right away, I think he could get receiving work when they split Cordell Patterson out at wide receiver. So I think he is an interesting handcuff in a way. He's not getting drafted, I assume. He's getting drafted 59th amongst running backs. Like, I think he's just someone to keep an eye on in deeper leagues, I guess, because he's talented.
Totally agree. Just get him to the playoffs. He'll help you there.
For sure. Here's a frustrating one that I just brought up. Ronald Jones to Kansas City. So he's there with Clyde Edwards-Helaire. And, I mean, Jerick McKinnon, I'm pretty sure, is still there. I don't know what the split's going to be, and I don't think the Chiefs know what the split's going to be. But I would assume both running backs get work. Maybe Ronald Jones is the early down guy and Clyde Edwards-Helaire is the receiving guy. I'm not sure. But, like, would you feel comfortable with getting Jones as, like, maybe a flex or no?
I don't know that I'd feel comfortable starting him at a flex. I didn't think he was all that great in Tampa Bay. But, you know, he's going to go to a dynamic offense. You're going to get points out of the Chiefs. So Ronald Jones will score points this year. I just don't know if it's going to be consistent enough or enough to, you know, get you over that hump in fantasy football this year.
Obviously, like, hindsight's 2020, and the Chiefs have been so good for a couple of years now that, you know, nobody seems to pay attention. But was CEH over Jonathan Taylor one of the biggest blunders in recent draft history? Like, I get they wanted CEH more for what they did, but 5'9", and I get he was a little hurt last year, but he has done next to nothing for that team outside of what, his first game ever against the Texans.
Yeah, he's been pretty banged up his entire time there. It wouldn't surprise me if if I'm doing a bold take article or something for this year, I might say CEH is a top 10 running back. Like, it wouldn't surprise me because we know Andy Reid's history with top 10 running backs in fantasy. He usually gets one guy to be great, and that just hasn't been the case recently. And I think Clyde Edwards-Helaire's injuries have been a big reason for that. I just think Ronald Jones is a knucklehead. Like, I think he's going to be in the position to make a play, and the play is going to be there to be made, and he's going to go left instead of right. He is going to drop the ball. He's going to miss the block. I think Ronald Jones is the ultimate fuck up in the NFL. And congratulations, Chiefs. Now you got him. Like, I think he's going to have some good games, but he's not to be trusted.
To add to that, Patrick Mahomes is a fine quarterback, right? But he's not Tom Brady. You know, Ronald Jones is going to have to get the ball more in this offense, I would imagine, than he had to in Tom Brady's offense.
Ronald Jones seems like that running back that has one good game inflated by one super long run that he breaks for a touchdown. Everybody picks him up, and then he just kind of dies out the rest of the season.
I agree. And in his absence, then the Buccaneers drafted Rachaad White, who I would call the best receiving back in this entire draft class. We talked about him in our Dynasty Fantasy video. Obviously, Gio Bernard's still there in Tampa Bay. I think he's going to learn from him, and I think he's going to quickly have the opportunity to succeed him as the receiving guy. So if you're looking for a handcuff to Leonard Fournette, I think Rachaad White's the dude. I think he's going to be good. Where is his ADP currently? I'm guessing not very high. Not in the top 60. So if for some reason you're drafting now, check him out. I think he's going to be good.
I also think that Leonard Fournette's going to be good this year.
I think it could be. I don't know why he's a receiving back, though. I don't get it. Like, whatever. Mike Davis. Mike Davis went to Atlanta last year, was supposed to be the main guy, got beat out by Cordell Patterson. He now goes to Baltimore. And Baltimore obviously had, their entire backfield wiped before the season begun. So now what their backfield looks like is J.K. Dobbins, Gus Edwards, then Mike Davis, and then I'm going to guess it's going to be Tyler Batty, or Beatty, who's a rookie they just drafted, who's a good receiver, and then Justice Hill. Justice Hill is probably going to get cut. I'm not touching Mike Davis. Are you?
No, I don't think he's any good at football.
That's fair. That is
But
fair.
I will say there's probably not a better spot he could have landed than Baltimore because he will be used there. They're going to have to keep cycling guys in with how much they run the ball.
That's true. He is getting drafted 53rd amongst running backs, which is late 13th round. And I guess, for that price, whatever. Yeah, I just don't think there's a ton of upside with him if people are healthy. But it's Baltimore, so who knows?
Right. If Lamar Jackson's healthy, I don't think there's a ton of upside for him.
That too. And we talked about Atlanta already, I think. Yeah, we did. Only other one I wrote down was Philip Lindsay, went from Miami to the Colts. He just backs up Nyheim Hines and Jonathan Taylor. With how much Jonathan Taylor runs the ball, he's probably going to get hurt. Philip Lindsay is going to be the third guy, and I don't see Nyheim Hines moving his role much. So he is just someone to keep your eye on because he will be relevant at some point. And,
How many waiver wire edition articles, or I guess how many weeks do you think that Philip Lindsay shows up in those articles?
Hopefully not many. But
as a guy who writes them, he will show up because it seems like every year there are two guys that show up in at least 4 weeks. He will definitely be there for 2 somehow.
That is true. Going back to Arizona, we talked about how Chase Edmonds left that situation. I think that's one of the more intriguing backfields this year. Obviously, Chase Edmonds battled injuries anyways, and we still have what's his face from Pittsburgh as the number one. James Conner, yeah. Boo. He's number one. Benjamin and Keontae Ingram will battle for RB2. And I say RB2, and I guess I mean it, but I think it's going to be like a true, whoever wins that battle, I think has a really good opportunity to have half the snaps. I don't think they want to use James Conner in an every down role like they were forced to at times last year.
Right. I think they want to use him exactly how they were using him during that Packer game, where Chase Edmonds just brings him all the way down the field and just busts James Conner in the end zone.
Mm-hmm.
People forget not a lot of people, but too many people forget that James Conner has a durability of a wet piece of paper towel. So he's going to get hurt at some point if they don't use him sparingly. And then we're going to look at those guys as having a somewhat significant role.
Yep. Any other running backs you guys want to talk about?
Todd Gurley, to be honest, but he didn't move teams, so he
yet.
might have moved couches, though. You never know.
Hopefully not. Rest in peace, Todd Gurley.
Hey, how come the Patriots haven't signed Todd Gurley yet?
That's a good point. That seems like a very Patriots move.
Yeah.
I don't think it does. I think it seems like an anyone move.
No, I just mean that the Patriots always sign the over-the-hill guys, just take one last shot at them.
Not at running back, though. Yeah, at wide receiver.
Yeah.
He could play.
Why haven't they signed Anquan Bolden yet? I think Anquan Bolden could come back and play for them.
I mean, N'Keal Harry can't be... I think I would take Anquan Bolden off his couch over N'Keal Harry at this point.
Same here.
That dude sucks at football.
Yeah, he does. What is there? The Patriots signed some other running back, didn't they? Or they drafted one. Yeah, so it's they got Damian Harris, Ramondre Stevenson, Pierre Strong, and then James White. I don't know. It'll be fine. We don't have to worry about Bolden anymore. That's all I'm really care about, because Brandon Bolden always has a week, and now I don't need to worry about it.
He took over the end of the year last year when us Damian Harris owners needed a championship.
Yeah. It's Brandon Bolden time. I love it.
Shout out to James White for having one of the most under-the-radar, very, very good careers in the NFL.
Dude's got the most Super Bowl touchdowns ever.
Dude's just producing no matter what. Nobody pays attention to him.
How many does he have? Two championships? Two Super Bowls?
I think so, yeah.
With the Patriots, I think.
Until this year, Patriots could win it all. Never know. Top 10 in terms of running back ADP and PPR fantasy leagues. Jonathan Taylor, Joe Mixon, Derrick Henry, Austin Eckler, Najee Harris, Dalvin Cook, Nick Chubb, Christian McCaffrey, and then Alvin Kamara, Javonte Williams. Is there any that stands out to you?
Can you read the top 5 again? I'm sorry.
Jonathan Taylor, Joe Mixon, Derrick Henry, Austin Eckler, Najee Harris.
I think that I would take Joe Mixon, or I would want Joe Mixon out of those 5. I think he plays the most games, and I think he produces the most.
Outside of those 5, I understand what he can do. I don't know why anybody still believes in Christian McCaffrey. He's a fantastic running back, but injuries are huge. Carolina runs him into the ground. I still see this being a horrible team. I think he'll probably get you 6 weeks of excellence right off the bat, but he'll get a hip injury or an elbow injury, and that's going to have him out all of one of the last how many games?
The thing is, when Christian McCaffrey scores, he scores a ton of points.
Yeah, I was going to bring up Christian McCaffrey too, but I'm on the opposite side. If he goes 8th and I'm picking 8th, I'll take him every fucking time. I'm very excited to see him there if he's there.
Where's Nick Chubb on that list? I'm sorry.
Just ahead of him.
Okay.
7. I would have him over Nick Chubb in a heartbeat. Not even close. I'd rather have him than Dalvin Cook, probably. I think it's close. They're both injury prone, Yeah, I don't know. I think they're all injury prone, so who cares?
Right.
Nick Chubb gets you more with team name wise, though. For fantasy team name, if you need some euphemisms in there, he's better for that. So
true.
Just
outside yeah, go ahead first.
I'm jumping ahead here. I'm sorry. I was just gonna ask where's Kareem Hunt at just that we're talking about Nick Chubb.
Where is he?
17.
He is 30th.
Wow.
Yeah, that's way down. There's actually a really strong case for him getting cut, and that one surprised me. They just drafted a running back, and it'd be good for money, but at this point, I don't know what they need the money for because there's no wide receivers available.
Am I delusional when I think that, other than the superstar running backs, Kareem Hunt could start on, a team that needs him?
Yeah. For majority of them.
Yeah.
Just looking down the list, he's better than Ezekiel Elliott. He's better than Antonio Gibson. He's better than Aaron Jones. He's better than Saquon Barkley. Yeah, a lot of these teams. 11 through 20, just because we're here, is Antonio Gibson, DeAndre Swift, David Montgomery, Ezekiel Elliott, Aaron Jones, J.K. Dobbins, Elijah Mitchell, Saquon Barkley, Clyde Edwards-Helaire at 19, and then Damian Harris at 20. So, a lot of weird names, I think. Yeah.
So you listed off those top 10. How many running backs do you take before a receiver? I don't even know who's ranked number 1 receiver right now.
Probably Justin Jefferson, maybe? No. Maybe.
Jamar Chase?
Cooper Kupp.
Oh, Cooper Kupp, though.
Oh, yeah.
In terms of ADP, it's 5 running backs and then Cooper Kupp at 6. And I wouldn't do that, but I get it.
No.
Yeah, if I have an option between Kupp and McCaffrey at any point in the draft, I'm probably taking McCaffrey.
Mm-hmm. And he's 3 below him. Justin Jefferson's number 2. He is going 10th. Devontae Adams going 12th. Jamar Chase going 14th.
And then where's Tyreek Hill?
19th. Just below Deebo Samuel.
Really?
Yeah, Travis Kelce is all the way down at 17. I would take him
12.
I would take him probably 12 or 11. I don't know if I would want him or Alvin Kamara.
I want
him over Devontae Adams, though.
Did that ever get settled? Isn't Alvin Kamara in jail?
I think he's still
he's
there.
out now, right? He's got to be out.
Yeah.
I haven't heard anything.
Yeah, I think it got covered up super quick. I think he's good to go.
Okay.
What?
If you're gonna commit crimes, do it at the Pro Bowl, kids.
Do it in Vegas.
I will say, I think that Travis Kelce has a really good chance to lead the league in receiving yards this year.
Easy. I wrote the article last year, should he be a first rounder or top 10 or something? And I could make just as good of a case this year, if not a better one. So, love Travis Kelce. Why wouldn't you?
All he does is produce.
Oh, I know why. Because he pronounces it Kels.
Oh, true.
Get the fuck out of here.
True.
It's Kelsey.
He's got to be joking. I don't agree or believe him. It's not real.
Either
and his
way,
brother did defend him. You know?
To even bring that up, man, that's a skid mark. I don't like it.
That's fair. That's an interesting offense. We could do a video just on the Chiefs offense. Because that is nightmare. Honestly, I don't know what to think.
I know. I just said that Travis Kelce is going to lead the league in receiving yards, but how mad are you guys going to be when Marquez Valdez-Scantling leads the league in receiving yards?
He could.
The only thing more frustrating is going to be Jackson Mahomes and Juju Smith-Schuster's fucking TikToks.
Oh fuck! I forgot Juju's there.
If it should be like if Flurry Sports gets to 5,000 subscribers by the end of the year, we'll react to like a 20-minute montage of their TikToks.
I'll reenact it. I don't care. If you get me to 5,000 by the end of the year, I'll do whatever you want. I'm a cheat. I'm cheap. I'll do it. Whatever. So, I mean, if you're watching on YouTube, subscribe. I think there's no better reason than that. We just hit 1 million views 2 days ago. That's a good milestone. So let's do that. Randy, Cardinals are the Hard Knocks in-season team this year. I love it. What better team to watch collapse than the Arizona Cardinals? That is
going to be horrible because Cliff Kingsbury is just going to put all his focus on the cameras and not the team.
100%. He's going to be staring at the camera while he's giving like his speech.
Mm-hmm.
And then once they lose in the playoffs, the same way they've lost or collapsed every other year, he said, I think Hard Knocks was a bit of a distraction, if we're being honest. He's going to pull that line in some form or the other.
Dude, he is the biggest con artist in NFL history.
He's great.
I can't wait to see it on full display.
If he had a normal name, he would not have a job. Like, if his name was Ronald, like, he wouldn't be there because his name is Cliff and people think it's cute.
Cliff is a good name.
It's an all right name, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, I guess not with a K. You're right.
What's his middle name?
I really hope it's not Kurt.
I'm going to guess Kurt.
Timothy.
Oh, that doesn't fit.
No. They were totally like, they panicked. They're like, God, don't say a K name. Don't say K name. Timothy.
Here's a question for you guys now that Randy brought up Hard Knocks. We'll take the Packers out of this equation. Who's the one team you want to see on Hard Knocks for an offseason training camp?
Lions.
Okay, we'll take the Lions out too.
Patriots.
Yeah. Dallas would be fun again.
I didn't really care about it.
They didn't have enough Jerry Jones, that's why.
That's true. I agree with that.
I think the Chargers, I want to see Brandon Staley exposed as a fraud of analytics. I hate that man so much. I hate him more than Kingsbury. That tells you a lot.
I wouldn't mind Chiefs. I'd like to see Andy Reid go to town on like some Kansas City barbecue every episode.
A Denny's platter. That's how it opens.
There's not many.
Moon's over my hammy every morning for Andy Reid.
There's not many teams that with a lot of players who have drama right now. I bet Joe Burrow would be fun on Hard Knocks.
That's true. Joe Burrow. And I mean, the Buccaneers are going to be the choice for a lot of teams too, just because of Tom Brady.
Here's a question. Has anybody been more perfectly made for a sponsorship than Andy Reid for a Waffle House? It just seems like a good mix to me. I know Waffle Houses can get pretty wild, and I know it's not Andy Reid, but but he just seems like a Waffle House kind of guy that doesn't understand what else goes on there.
I disagree. I think he's a Cracker Barrel guy. He is full of chicken and dumplings and
Or a
grits
Chili's.
24/7.
I love
Maybe
Chili's.
Of course.
I feel like he says baby back, baby back, baby back. Or is that Applebee's? Either way, he
Chili's.
says
That's
that to
Chili's.
himself all the time on the sidelines.
I'll throw I think Gardner Minshew sponsorship with Monster would be a good one.
With Monster?
Mm-hmm.
Does he seem like a monster guy? He doesn't seem like an extreme guy.
Maybe he's more like a Jack Daniels.
Jack
I can
Daniels is
see him
better.
being like a Busch Light or a Hams.
Yeah. I mean, he's Bud Light already, but yeah, like
No, he feels like Budweiser.
Natty Ice or something. Like what?
Like Budweiser.
True. Yeah, he's not a light guy. That's a good point. Anything
what
else you
coaches
want
are
to
on the
talk
hot
about?
seat? Randy, what coaches are on the hot seat? I think Pete Carroll.
Yeah. For sure, Pete Carroll. Just bring up the team so I could look at it. Robert Salah, Mike McCarthy.
McCarthy probably number one.
If the Browns completely collapse, maybe Stefanski.
I'm thinking possibly, depending on how their season ends, I don't think it's going to happen. But if they don't make the playoffs again, and if they collapse late again, I think Staley at the Chargers. Like, they should have made it last year, and if they don't make it this year, that's a huge problem.
When does Harbaugh find the hot seat? Or does he have a job for life?
I think it's for life.
Pretty close to for life, yeah. Yeah, that's probably it.
I would say the front runner is Mike McCarthy, though. If they finish, 500,
yeah,
the whole coaching staff is gone.
Well, and we didn't say Kingsbury, did we? If they don't make the playoffs, surely his ass got to go, right?
No. I don't think he should be there. I think they would keep him, though.
I feel like it's a pride thing that this will catch on soon enough. This is his mind.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, he's not on the hot seat, but if the Rams completely fall apart, McVay might leave.
Fair. Who's at Vegas? Is it
McDaniel. Or not McDaniel. What's his name?
Josh McDaniels.
McDaniels, yeah.
Yeah.
And then McDaniel is in Miami.
Yep.
That's
one of them's got to change their names.
Yeah. I vote both. Get rid of them both. Anything? Yeah, Kingsbury just got a contract. I mean, that doesn't matter, but yeah. And his agent, who represents both him and Kyler Murray, helped make it happen. Little conflict of interest there. Now Kyler's going to get paid next. And yeah, they're there for a bit. I'd love to see it because I hate the Cardinals.
Here, we're going to tie this show full circle. Zach, with your Texans shirt on, I hope they do not fire Lovie Smith.
Lovie Smith
that's
deserves a good shot. I love Lovie Smith.
I like him. He's gone. He's gone by week 4.
No.
They don't want. I mean, they're racist as fuck. They don't want. They got cornered to hire him. Like, yeah, that's not a good situation.
I still want
Shout out Justin McRae though. Hope he balls up.
I still want Lovie to coach Packers defense, but that's never going to happen.
I would love it. Yeah, by all means. What second-year quarterback has a better year this year? I mean, Justin Fields will have a better one.
Davis Mills, my guy.
Yeah, I got to go Davis Mills.
Trey Lance is going to be a top 10 quarterback. Fantasy and reality. He is if he is everything Patrick Mahomes lovers think Patrick Mahomes is, I believe. So we will see, I guess. He'll for sure have a better year.
Yeah. I also think Trevor Lawrence kind of bounces back this year.
Yeah. He should. Yeah. He's actually going to be coached.
He actually has
He
players
has
that can play offense around him.
He has 14 slot receivers and 1 outside receiver, which is cool. Let's see how that works. Let's look at that offense really quick.
They didn't draft a running back in the first round again, so that's cool.
Yeah, ETN just got cleared today too, which is good. That team receiving core is Zay Jones, Marvin Jones, Christian Kirk, Laquan Treadwell, Laviska Shenault, Jamal Agnew. And I would assume that's it.
So they just have a bunch of number
keep.
three guys on their team at receiver.
Yeah, and then Evan Engram, Dan Arnold, which neither are true tight ends anyway. And then Chris Manhertz, who they have to keep to block, essentially.
And then ETN's just be a receiver.
Yeah, he's another slot. And then James Robinson's there. Snoop Connor is a good running back. He's there. I don't know. Their biggest fucking signing was Brandon Scherf at right guard.
Mm-hmm.
He is so good. That team is going to be able to run the ball. I think that's a really good signing. They also drafted the 2 best linebackers in the draft. Good for them. I don't know. They're
The Jags?
interesting. Yeah.
They also got Aluakun. He had a fantastic end of the year last year.
Who?
He balled out.
Aluakun,
yeah. I heard like 50 different pronunciations. He was on the Falcons last year. I only know him because I picked him up as an IDP in fantasy. He was an absolute monster. I think he had like 3 interceptions, 2 forced fumbles, and like a fumble recovery in the last like 5 weeks. Like 10 tackles a week.
Oh, linebacker. Okay, yeah. I was looking at safety. Okay.
So I'll ask you guys this because this has been going around because basketball's ending. People are starting to talk about football. If either do win a Super Bowl, who wins the Super Bowl first? Trevor Lawrence or Zach Wilson?
Trevor Lawrence. I don't believe in Zach Wilson.
I mean, I think Zach Wilson's a better football player, but I don't think he's going to win.
I think the Jets have a better team than the Jags, too.
Yeah, for sure.
The Jets dominated this draft.
Jets did. Eagles did really well.
Ravens.
Jaguars did well, too. Ravens did all right, yeah. Lions did really well.
Packers, A++. A++. Didn't miss. Perfect draft. We fleeced everybody again, Zach. Wanted you to know.
I know. It's amazing. They got so many good wide receivers, and all they got to do is sign 2 more because that's how you build a team.
And Amari Rodgers, he's going to have at least 500 receiving yards within the first 2 weeks.
Dude, Packer fans love them some Amari Rodgers.
He fucking sucks, man. What are we doing here? He is bad. Every time I see it, I cringe. Like, Dubs, whatever. Watson, whatever. I draw the fucking line at Amari Rodgers, bitch ass. This dude is bad at football.
I was sent a clip of Amari Rodgers' workout, and I can say this. He looks good. I think he looks way, 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 way better than last year. It wasn't a football workout though. There's no football to be seen. He was just doing like running and routes and stuff like that. So I don't know. He's not overweight and slow anymore, which is good.
He's still 5'8".
Yes, he is. And he's still going to get his shit rocked at punt returner and lose all confidence immediately. I don't know, man.
You have to catch the ball to get hit, so.
The quote today was Alan Lazard can replace Devontae Adams.
That pissed me off. Watch out, Lazard's the next Devontae. Yeah, okay.
Christian Watson's the next MVS. Randall Cobb's
2.0 up there.
It's insane, man. Jawan Winfrey was compared to Devontae as well.
Yeah.
So now we got 2 Devontaes, which is great.
Yeah, I love that. He said, we're going to be good because I'm going to step up. Boy, if you're relying on Jawan Winfrey, do you have a problem?
God, I like him too, but boy, it doesn't give me confidence. Don't be like, don't worry, guys. I, practice squad receiver, have come to save the day. It's ridiculous.
Randy said, who is the most improved player this year? I say
That's
Bryce
interesting.
Newman because he's already hit the bottom.
Can't get any worse.
You're not wrong.
Most improved.
Um,
Probably Russell Wilson.
I mean, that's fair. Most improved on the Packers, I could see Juwan Winfrey just out of default, I guess. Or by default.
Yeah.
Has Slayton learned how to breathe yet?
TBD. Luke, you can meet with them tomorrow, Luke. You're media in Green Bay. You can go talk to Slayton.
Yeah.
See if
I'm going to guess
he's
that
met Joe Barry yet.
there is a chance that Slayton may not be able to breathe because Green Bay is going through the process of decriminalizing marijuana right now.
That's tough.
Yeah.
That is tough. Not a big attendance for voluntary minicamp, I bet. That's interesting. I do want to answer like thoughtfully most improved player. I think
You'd have
Trey
to say
Lance is a
Trey
cop
Lance.
out. Yeah, I mean, I think it is. I just don't think it's fair to give him an award if he doesn't play and then all of a sudden he plays. Like, I think the NFL would, but
That's like giving John Morant most improved.
I was
after
just
winning
about to
Rookie of the
say,
Year.
John Morant got it. So what are we doing here? Marcus Smart got the Defensive Player of the Year and the All Hustle Award. Like, you can't win everything for flopping. So just give it to
Hey.
Trey Lance.
he had an Oscar.
Do you think Tua factors into this at all? Does Tyreek Hill help that out? Does his running back help that out?
No. I think Tua is Tua. I'm not sure if there's a team I want to see fail more than the Dolphins this year. Like, I know the Cardinals will fail, so I think it is what it is. I just don't want McDaniel to succeed.
That's
For
true.
some reason, I'm very anti-Tua. I want him to screw up.
Yeah,
Ever since he insulted that offensive lineman, saying that he's not an athlete, I'm done with Tua.
All my homies
Screw
hate
that guy.
Tua.
it's hard to.
And Wichita State.
Zach, we talked about this. It's hard. It's going to be hard to root against Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle in that green.
Let me see. I mean, if there's a race between Mostert and Tyreek Hill at training camp, I'll watch and I'll get excited about it. I don't know if that's going to make me like them, though. Are we going to Packers training camp? I'm going to Vikings. I'm assuming, Luke, you're going to Packers at some point?
I'll probably be there. We went there last year, and we stayed till everyone cleared out of practice, and the last person on the field was Kurt Benkert kicking punts.
So I guess that means I have to go see Chicago or Detroit, huh?
I mean, an easy choice for you.
Detroit training camp.
Dude, I want to. I'm going to be in Cleveland in August. That's close enough.
That means Janet's
I'm
got
so
Chicago.
excited for the Lions this year.
Yo, we got to rent a house in Detroit one of these times to go to a Lions game, man. Okay, not a house in Detroit, outside of Detroit, but go to a Lions game.
So, I do think that Detroit doesn't finish last in the division this year. I mean, Chicago is just a dumpster fire of an organization.
Peter King just ranked them 20th in the NFL.
The buzz is starting.
Hey, I mean, he ranked them above the Colts, which I think is an interesting choice, but I think they're better.
Start the fiesta at Ford Field, boys.
Okay, let me ask. Go ahead, Zach. I'm sorry.
Is there a ferry that goes across Lake Michigan directly to Detroit?
No, because Detroit's on the east
Detroit's
side.
on the other side of Michigan.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's the
Geography
big city right
101.
there?
Traverse City?
I ignore Michigan.
Yeah, Traverse City.
Yeah. You can get on a ferry out to Washington Island.
No, God, never take that. Holy shit. I almost died on that. They have a car in the back, man. I was like halfway off that bitch. That was horrible. I thought I was going to die for like 30 minutes.
Okay.
It's horrible, man.
That ride does suck. It takes forever, and the whole process getting in and out.
If they ever offer you to be the last car on that ferry, decline. Wait 30 minutes for the next one. That's my key for you guys tonight.
Okay. Well, thank you.
You're welcome. Anytime.
Yeah, that's all I got for tonight. Next week, we'll talk about wide receivers and tight ends. Obviously, tight ends, there aren't that many. Wide receivers, there's a shit ton. A lot of trades, a lot of free agency moves. So, yeah, we'll break that down next week. Until then, I'm guessing there will be some more fantasy stuff going up on flurrysports.org. Go check that out. If you're watching on YouTube, there is a special offer for Sleeper Fantasy in the description to get a free $100 to play with over there. So do that. And yeah, we'll be back next week. Maybe something else later on this week. Who knows? See ya.
Peace.